Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Mount St. Joseph Reading Science Doctoral Program Information Session. I'm Dr. Amy Murdoch, and I'm joined with our Reading Science faculty, Dr. Stephanie Staller, Dr. Jennifer Keeler, and Dr. Beth Corbo. And then also joining us is Kim Rosen from our Graduate Admissions Department. So I'm just going to share my screen so that we can get started. Thank you so much for joining us. We are super excited to share with you our plans for the doctoral program. Before we get started, just a couple little things about the webinar. So this will be recorded, and so if you have friends who weren't able to make it, or if something happens and you need to leave, there will be a recording that will be posted on our website. And our Reading Science website, starting tomorrow, will include information about the doctoral program. So this is kind of our official kind of kickoff to starting the doctoral program process of getting the word out and talking about admissions. If you go to the top of your Zoom page and the little bar comes down that tells you different things like mute, I guess it could be at the bottom of your screen as well, but the little Zoom bar, in that Zoom bar, there's something that says Q&A. As I'm talking, if you have questions, please post them there. I'm going to mainly do the talking, and my colleagues are going to monitor the Q&A, and they will stop me if there's a question that would be good to talk about right at that moment. And then if it's a good kind of global question, we'll keep those till the end, and we'll have some time at the end for some question and answer. And I will just invite my panelists to chime in if there is something I forgot to say or that would be good to note. This is our very first information session for the doctoral program, so I'm not quite as fluent yet as I am with talking about like our graduate master's degree program. So I will invite my colleagues to chime in. All right, so here's our agenda. So this information session is to give you some information about the program and our plans for what we're doing in terms of courses and course delivery, let you get to know our faculty. We have some new faculty that we're super excited to bring on board for the doctoral program that I want you to get to meet. And then the second part of the information session will be all about the application process. So the requirements, there's some information to go over about prerequisites, and then just how you do it. How do you and then we'll talk that were knitted to us ahead of time that I've kind of included into this webinar, but then also making sure that we have time for your questions that come up as I'm talking. So, all right, so let's get started. This is a big one. Who is eligible? So the first thing to know is it is a graduate program that is a doctoral program that doesn't have an attached master's degree, meaning you have to have your master's degree before you begin the doctoral programs. Some doctoral programs, like the program I went through, you got your master's and then you got your doctorate. This one is a standalone doctoral program, so you do have to have a master's degree. We are fully online with summer institutes, so you do not have to live in the Cincinnati area to join us, which we're really excited about. There's a couple states that have exceptions. Just they have interesting regulations and rules that make it very difficult for online format programs to be offered in their state. And so far, that is Kentucky and California, and that has held for a number of years, unfortunately. We are not allowed to accept educators in Kentucky or California. We as an institution can actually get in big trouble for this. So it's not anything specific to a decision Mount St. Joseph made. It's having to do with the regulations in those states. This is also true for international students. We are able to accept international students from Canada, and we have a number of students from Canada in our graduate program right now. But as of right now, we are not able to accept international students outside of Canada and the United States. So if you are in that situation, if you're from Kentucky, California, or an international student outside of Canada, we are looking into it. And so our administrative team and with our legal counsel is looking into this to see if we can understand this better and possibly allow people from certain states or countries to be able to apply. And we were told that we would have a decision about that by mid-October. So if you are somebody who's really interested, check back with us around that time, and hopefully we'll have more information, because we are doing kind of a new search into understanding these regulations. But I don't want to waste anybody's time either, so I want to make that clear. So the purpose of our reading science program in general at the Mount is really around spreading the science of reading. If you're on this webinar, you know most likely that there is a rich science to how we teach reading and how reading develops and what happens when children have trouble with reading, have reading disabilities. And we want to make sure our schools are doing that. So at the heart of all of our programs is understanding deeply the science of reading and making sure you are ready to go in terms of teaching and leading others in the science of reading. For us and for most people in the world, this is a social justice issue, right? So there are too many children who are not reading well, and there is no reason for that because we know how to teach reading. So we really link the science of reading to social justice. And that kind of led us to wanting to create a doctoral program. So as you probably know, we've had a very successful graduate program for the last 12 years in reading science. And we had a lot of our graduates who would come to us and say, you know, Amy, Beth, I really want to do a doctoral program. Where do I go? And there are a couple other reading science doctoral programs, but there's not very many. And so we really wanted to meet that need for our own graduate students. And then secondly, we know that in higher education, in order to really change higher education, we need faculty members who know the science of reading and can train those, you know, pre-service teachers. So you learn it right the first time. So you leave teacher prep and you know how to teach reading based on what the science tells us. And so we really have done a lot of work around shaping and working with higher education, not just at Mount St. Joe, but across the state and nationally. And we see a key piece of that as preparing people who will be teacher educators. So our real purpose in this program is we want to prepare the next faculty members, the next leaders of literacy in their districts and their states. And a unique thing about our program is that we really think the best people to do that are current educators. And so we wanted to build a program that was something that a current educator could do while they were still in their job. So most doctoral programs, you have to kind of give up your life to go and you know, do the doctoral program. And that prevents a lot of really great people, we felt, from entering higher education. So our program is designed for the working educator. It's going to be busy, but it is set up so that you can do the doctoral program while you're still working. So it is a part-time doctoral program. So that was really important to us as well. In terms of the process we went through to create this has actually been something we've been thinking about for a number of years. When Dr. Sparks was on faculty, he and I almost started a doctoral program about 7 years ago. It wasn't the right time, but now it is. And so we've been planning this doctoral program for about 2 years. Doctoral programs have a pretty rigorous accreditation process, as they should. So the accreditation process took about 18 months to go through. And as part of that, we had focus groups where we talked to current teachers who knew the science of reading, who were good candidates for people who might go through a doctoral program. We asked them about, you know, if you were doing a doctoral program, what kinds of things would you want to learn? What are the areas that you need greater depth of knowledge in and greater practice and skills in? We also have a really wonderful panel of reading experts who kindly gave of their time to review drafts of our plans and drafts of our course outlines. So we sought a lot of input from a variety of different people in terms of reading experts, students who potentially would do our program, and then Beth and I also looked a lot at other reading programs, doctoral programs that weren't reading science, just to see how they were structured, and then the good doctoral programs that are out there in reading science and what kinds of things that they do. So it was a good 2-year kind of research and development process that we went through. We are now fully accredited by the Higher Learning Commission. That's the body that accredits university programs. And in Ohio, because we're an Ohio-based institution, we had to also go through Ohio Department of Higher Education. So we are now fully accredited and can, happily talk about our plans. As I kind of alluded to, we have been a successful reading science program at the graduate level for 12 years. And this has been a fully online graduate program for the last 7 years. And so we've learned a lot through that about how to do online courses, and then also how to do reading science courses. So our doctoral program, we think of it as leaving off, continuing on from where our master's degree left off. And so we want to, go further. The other thing that's good to know about Mount St. Joseph University, if you are new to us, is we are committed to the science of reading at all levels. So we now have a doctoral program with the science of reading. As I've talked about, our master's degree program was built on the science of reading. And we, in the last 3 years, have done a major overhaul of our undergraduate program to make sure our undergraduate program is also science of reading. In fact, our undergraduate program was one of 18 programs in the nation to receive an A+ rating from the National Council for Teacher Quality. So, and the only one in Ohio. So we're proud of that, and we're proud of being a whole school that is dedicated to the science of reading. You're not gonna get anybody, I promise you, on our faculty who's gonna talk about whole language. It is a 100% science of reading program at all levels. Our dean will talk science of reading. Our president of the university will actually talk science of reading. And so it is something very important at the Mount, and something we're proud of. It has become part of our brand, even bigger than the School of Education, which is very fun. All right, so let me introduce you a little bit to our fabulous faculty. We are really fortunate now with the addition of the doctoral program. We were able to add 2 faculty members to our team, one full-time and then one part-time. So I'm just gonna briefly state the names of each person and let them introduce themselves. So as I said, I'm a program director in the reading science program and Will in the doctoral program. My background is I got my PhD, I got my doctorate in school psychology, and my current interests are around early reading development, especially preschool, with children living in poverty. And I also have a project, which is the Ohio Special Education Program's federal grant project around the early identification and support of children with dyslexia. I'm doing that with another faculty member, Dr. Wendy Strickler, and the Ohio Department of Education is part of that team. So next I'm going to introduce Dr. Elizabeth Corbo. She is an assistant professor, and she's also the director of our clinical practice program. Beth, do you want to say a few words about yourself? Did we lose Beth? Oh, Beth, you're on mute, I think.
First glitch. Sorry about that.
No, it's easy to do.
I am so excited to meet you all, virtually meet you all. Like Amy said, my name is Dr. Beth Corbo, and I am an assistant professor in the Reading Science Department. I've been with the Reading Science Department for 5 years now, and before I was a member of the Reading Science Department, taught for many years for Cincinnati Public Schools. Got my doctorate from the University of Cincinnati, and I really have some great research interests in linguistics and vocabulary, academic language, those areas, along with the science of reading in higher education. So, like I said, I'm so very happy to meet you all, and thanks for listening.
Great, thanks, Beth. Now I'd like to introduce Dr. Jennifer Keeler. She's brand new to us. We were able to hire her to start this fall, and she's getting a jump start by joining this information session.
Hello, everyone. I'm very excited to meet you virtually tonight. I am coming from, I'm a speech language pathologist, and prior to being at this university, I was a visiting assistant professor at the College of Worcester, also here in Ohio, in the Department of Communication Sciences and Disorders. But I have a professional background working with children with reading difficulties as a special education teacher, school administrator, and speech language pathologist. And my research interests are revolve around the role of language impairments and executive function in reading difficulties, and also assistive technology and how it can support both language and reading difficulties. And I'm very happy to be here.
Great. Thank you, Jennifer. And then I want to introduce our other new faculty member who is new in terms of being on faculty officially, but she has been an adjunct and a collaborator with us for a number of years, Dr. Stephanie Staller.
Hi, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for your interest in the program. As Amy said, I am just new to joining the faculty as a part-time assistant professor. My background is in school psychology. My PhD is in school psychology from the University of Cincinnati. And I am interested in continuing the work that I've been doing around early literacy, implementing systems change, and implementing multi-tiered systems of support. So I'm excited to be part of this new doctoral program.
Great, thank you. In addition to the four of us who are the main team for the doctoral program, we have other people on faculty that you may engage with if you come to our doctoral program. I mentioned Dr. Wendy Strickler. She's the program director of our leadership program. She also has a background in the science of reading. And she will likely work with you on the leadership course or courses that you take with us. So beyond this group, we have a nice network of other collaborators that you will also engage with. But the four of us are the main faculty members who will work with you in the doctoral program. So let's get into some of the logistics of the program. Big question that often people ask is, how long is the program? So the program will start in May of 2021, so this coming May, and it is a 3-year program if you do not need the prerequisites. If you need the prerequisites, it would be a 4-year program. And we plan on starting a new cohort every May. So I know a couple questions that I got via email were, when's the next start? I might not be ready to start this May, but when would be the next start? So we're planning on every May starting a cohort. And I honestly don't imagine that we will increase that just because of the nature of doctoral work. We most likely will stick to 1 cohort a year, at least for the foreseeable future. There are 60 credits in the doctoral program. And then again, if you need the prerequisites, that could go up to 75. So that range is really about prerequisites or not. So when we think about the doctoral program, kind of the key objectives that we have as you leave the program are listed here. And I'm not gonna read each one, but just highlight a couple key things. We want our graduates of the doctoral program to be strong consumers and understanders, I don't know if that's a word, of research. So being able to really critically analyze, synthesize, and apply educational and reading research. So that's a key goal. Also, to be able to implement research-based practices and help others be able to do that. We want our graduates to have a deep content knowledge in reading development, theory, the essential components of reading, reading assessment, intervention, disability. So again, having that deep content knowledge. We also want, because we're really focused on creating leaders, we want our graduates to be skilled in communication in general, but especially being able to be clear in their description and understanding and helping others of understanding research. So helping people understand complex research in terms of how it relates to practice. That's our big goal, is to close that research to practice gap. We want people who go out and do meaningful leadership and research in schools that talks about, you know, how do we get this information into our schools. And then we also want our graduates to be knowledgeable and skillful in college level teaching and supervision, because again, we see ourselves as training the next professors and the next leaders in districts and in states. So one of the documents that Kim sent you is our program plan. And some people love my color coding and some people not so much, but I don't know, you're a bunch of teachers, so I think you probably like color coding. So I did that just to kind of pull out that we think of our courses as really having 4 different strands, a foundational strand, a strand around research, and then a strand around assessment and intervention, and then a strand around evidence-based teaching and supervision. And so that's kind of the color coding. But you see, you'll take classes in the areas of leadership and systems change, language, reading and writing, and then research and statistics, including your dissertation. At the bottom of that form that Kim sent you, that was our kind of a sample program plan, you can see how it will kind of shape out. You will take 3 courses during the summer and then 2 courses during the school year in each semester. And so in fall semester, you'll take 2 courses, and then in spring 2 courses. We learned a lot from doing our graduate program, and one of the things we learned is that it was easier to do 1 course at a time that was more accelerated rather than 2 courses across the whole semester. So we're going to apply that same model in our doctoral program. So in the fall, you see fall 1 and fall 2. And so fall 1, you would take that class for the first 7 weeks of fall semester. And then when that class is done, you would take a second class in fall semester. Again, the classes then would be more accelerated, but we have found that that has been wildly a much more attractive format for, again, busy educators. Oh, one more thing I did want to note. So we are imagining as well with our courses that are online during the school year, that we would have times where people come together for discussion. And so much of the class will be asynchronous, but key in terms of being synchronous so we can one of the things that I love about working at the Mount is that it is extremely collaborative in the School of Education. And we really value collaboration in terms of making sure our courses work well for our students. And so for the doctoral program, we, as a reading science faculty, first of all, we meet every other week as we're developing courses to make sure we understand exactly if there's a course that Dr. Stoller is developing, even if I don't have anything to do with it, I want to understand exactly what goes into that course and be able to give input if needed, and you know, just understand it in terms of the courses I'm working on. Each course has 2 content developers who are working on it, as well as an instructional designer. We did the same model again in our graduate program, and it worked very nicely. We make sure our courses have a similar look and feel so that if you're in our program, once you've done one course, you kind of have some expectations and know, you know, where do I find the calendar? Where do I submit things? So it looks and feels similar so that you can focus on the content. Just like with students, right? We want to make sure that the procedures are easy and routine so we can focus on the content. As the program director, I will review all of the courses and to make sure that there's continuity. And again, it's a very collaborative faculty, and a faculty that has a strong, similar model of understanding reading. So this works very nicely and helps make sure we have some strong courses for you. So here's the part that I'm like most excited about. So I have dreams about this sometimes, like, you know, imagining us all being together at the Summer Institute. When we were developing this, Beth and I were super excited when we came up with this idea. So each summer, beginning with that first May start, we will have a 1 to 2 week Summer Institute. We know the first one will be 1 week, most likely 5 days. We're still kind of doing some planning around that, but we promise it won't be more than 7 days. And at the Summer Institute, first of all, the Summer Institute, the purpose of them is a couple things. One, you know, to have some time to build relationships and collaborate, get to know each other. We feel like if we are able to bring people together and do some of that work together up front, and then periodically through your program, that will really help us in our online classes as we're having discussions and making connections. So one of it is kind of, you know, cohort building and getting to know each other. But in each Summer Institute, you will have what we call a special topics class. The special topics class will have 2 parts. The first part will be cohort specific, which I'll talk about in just a second. So depending on the year in the program you're in, content that's specific for you. And then there will also be cross-cohort content. So each Summer Institute, we will pick a theme and a keynote speaker. So this will be a big reading researcher, somebody fabulous. We've already got ideas. And we'll read that person's work, and then we'll invite that person to campus. That person will do a keynote speech to everybody, all the cohorts. And then we also are thinking we'd open that up to the community, the keynote speech. But then we would also have that researcher work with our different cohorts in the doctoral program. So you would have time one-on-one, or, you know, as a group, you know, with a great researcher and talking about their work. So the special topics class will have some online content before we meet together on campus to get ready to do that, like have a book discussion. So we'd read the book ahead of time and get ready to do that work. And then in the summer, you will also always take 2 additional courses. And so during the Summer Institute, we will have course meetings for those 2 additional courses. And we very carefully thought about which courses most need kind of a Summer Institute touch point. During this Summer Institute, there will also be presentations by faculty members. So we will present our research. As we have advanced students will also be presenting as part of a course requirement their project. So for example, you take a program evaluation course and you have to do a program evaluation and present it. You will present it at the Summer Institute. So it'll be a really nice way to see cross-cohort collaboration and understanding what's coming and all that good stuff. You'll also have time to meet with your advisor during the Summer Institute and other program faculty. We want to build in some social times as well. So Cincinnati, if you don't know, Cincinnati is a lovely city. And so we've got some plans in terms of, you know, getting out into the city a little bit and also, you know, being together informally. So the special topics courses are listed here. The first one is getting you ready. So that's, you know, we'll go over a lot of orientation things, making sure we all have a good solid review of some of the kind of seminal research around reading science. So that first is really our foundations foundations special topics class. Then the second one, this seminar will really focus on kind of furthering your leadership skills and your presentation skills. So during this Summer Institute, we know that we're going to have presentations that you will do to kind of refine your presentation skills. This second year, we will also do some work around talking about dissertation topics. One of the things that we worked hard to do and will continue to work hard to do as we're, you know, fully building these classes is thinking about the dissertation and how do we prepare you early on to complete that, because we don't want anybody not finishing. We want, you know, everybody finishing our program. And so we really want to think about how do we help you get ready to finish that dissertation as early as possible. So that second special topics will focus on the dissertation a lot as well. And then the third special topic is really around teaching and supervision. This will be right before you do teaching and supervision in courses in that following that third summer. You do a teaching and supervision course, and this summer institute will get you ready for that. So here's just a little sample. This is completely made up, but just to kind of think about, you know, what might a summer institute 5-day, you know, schedule kind of look like. And so from this, you can see that there is a keynote speaker, Dr. Impressive, and then, you know, time to work with that keynote speaker. There is social things. There are things that are cohort specific. And then there are things where you're meeting with one of your 2 courses. I've been talking a lot. Kim or other panel members, are there any questions that have come up at this point that would be good for me to pause and answer, or am I good to keep going?
I was actually just typing some questions. People are wondering about the Summer Institute, wanting to know if there's the option to stay on campus or in a hotel. And
great question. Yeah, let me address that now. I thought that might be a topic that would come up with questions. Yes, so we are planning on having dorm options available. The nice thing about Mount St. Joseph is we're a small university, and we don't have almost no undergraduate classes in the summer. A couple here and there, but not very many. So we don't have a lot of undergraduates on campus in general, and they don't live in the dorms over the summer. So we can, you know, have our graduate students on campus and not feel like you're 19 living in the dorm. Although maybe that's something you would like. But we have suites. We have 1 dorms that are suites where you have, you know, a bathroom in your, you know, suite, and you share it with just 1 other person. So we'll share more information about that. But yes, there will be an affordable dorm option. It seems like that will work nicely. When we did our focus groups and information gathering with potential students, we did find that a lot of people didn't like the idea of living in the dorm and were worried about that. So we imagine that we will also help you secure like an Airbnb or point you to some hotels. Again, Cincinnati is a mid-sized city, so that affords us some nice options around that. So we imagine kind of a menu of options for you. And what we were thinking, again, this is our first cohort. I was joking the other day when we had a meeting that, you know, our first cohort are going to be our pioneers. Not our guinea pigs. They're going to be our first year in terms of what works best. We would talk to those specific group of 15 and see what options do they want, and how can we make those happen. So, all right, well, I'll keep going. So a couple things that I just want to highlight. We sent you, if you got the information from Kim, she sent you some information about our courses. I want to highlight just a few courses that I have gotten questions on, so I thought I would just, you know, put them out there, just briefly. So one course that we have is testing, evaluation, and intervention design, and this is going to be set up as kind of a clinic type setup. This will be done in the summer. There will be content before the course meets in the summer. But we will arrange for you to work with students on campus during that summer institute. This is your second summer. The focus of this is to not, you know, be a master at doing different tests, although that is an element of it. We do want you familiar with different tests, but more importantly, understanding needs of a student in terms of intervention design. And so I'm excited about that course. I think that'll be a fun one to work through and think through. But that will be one that we do as a kind of a clinic type format on campus. Another course that I've gotten some questions about when we've, you know, shared our course descriptions in terms of how they will work is our supervision and teaching in higher ed course. And so this course will be in your third year after your third summer institute. In that third summer institute, as I said, a big focus there will be on teaching and supervision. So we'll have some kind of general work that we'll do around, elements of good teaching and good supervision at the higher ed level. And then in this course, you will do two kind of strands of work. One is you will supervise graduate students who are all teachers as they are learning and implementing Orton-Gillingham. And so one of the prerequisites is that you are trained in Orton-Gillingham. So if you're not, we'll talk about that. But so that you will be set up in a mentoring situation and you will, supervise a graduate student. Second is teaching. You will be paired with one of us as a faculty member and you will help in teaching a graduate level course or possibly an undergraduate level course. And so this does involve, direct, work with that population. And it's nice that we have a fully online reading science program because you can do that fully online. So you do not have to come to Cincinnati for that part. That was one of the questions. All right, this is a big one, right? This is talking about the dissertation. So this is one that we did a lot of work and a lot of research trying to understand what other places do and how best to do this for our students. So let's see. Did my screen just get really big or is that just me? Did it get big? I don't know what I did. Okay, I will figure it out. All right, so for the dissertation, first of all students get to complete a dissertation. So that's a fun thing. And the dissertation will be both a written dissertation. We're going to use an article format. So we hope that you will actually publish your dissertation after you're done with your faculty advisor. And then you will also do an oral defense of your dissertation. The oral defense will happen after your third year. So that fourth summer, you will come back to the Summer Institute just to defend your dissertation, okay? So you can participate in all the fun parts of the Summer Institute, and part of that will be scheduling your defense. Each student will form a committee, and the committee is made up of people who are aligned with the topic that you're interested in. So say you're gonna do something around early intervention with young children living in poverty, and you're gonna use kind of a multi-tiered system of support framework. So for that topic, you might choose myself and Dr. Stoller as part of your committee. You will also get people outside of the reading science program to serve on your committee, and we'll help you do that. So again, that could be like Dr. Strickler or another education faculty member. That will be your committee. And then you'll have a chair of your committee. So for that topic, maybe Dr. Stoller would be your chair, and she will really lead you through that work and how to do it. And then you will share your dissertation results with your whole committee, and then they give you feedback. And then at the defense is when you kind of have the final product where you defend it and get the thumbs up that everything's okay, or that you need revisions. But hopefully we'll just say thumbs up that everything's okay. So with the dissertation, as I said, we're really trying to think carefully about how do we structure this so people, when they get to the point of the dissertation, one, know some great topics that they're interested in, and two, feel strongly that they have the skills and knowledge to be able to do that dissertation. And so our research and statistics series is purposefully planned to have kind of touch points along the way to lead you to that dissertation. We are going to focus on research that is applied in schools. And so we are going to teach you research methodology that has the focus of implementation in schools. So you have a course on behavioral research methods. That is all about different research designs that are doable in a real school setting, that are manageable and doable. So, we are not a neuropsych lab, right? So we're not going to do, imaging and that kind of stuff. Now, if you have access to that, we can talk with you, but we're going to really focus on, things that are doable in schools. So that behavioral research methods course will tell you a lot of different research designs that you will be able to use in your dissertation. The second course that will be really helpful is the program evaluation course, because program evaluation is another format that we're going to guide you towards in your dissertation. So we're going to guide you to choose a format that we know is going to be successful in getting you done, one that we all have the expertise to guide you in, and that, again, is implementable in a school or a clinic type setting. We also have a dissertation seminar. In that seminar, this is the summer before your third year, you will do that seminar. And that seminar is where you will refine and submit your dissertation proposal topic. So that'll be a really important course, again, that helps you get ready to go. And as I said, at the end of the first year, going into your second year, that's a key part of that special topics class, is to get you thinking about, what are you thinking about for your dissertation? What are your topics? What ideas might you have? What research methodologies you might start thinking about? All that good stuff. As I said, we're doing this as article format rather than book format, and our hope is that our students produce great research around implementation of the science of reading. All right, there it goes, went back down, good. Went back down to regular size. All right, so in addition to the dissertation, we have a couple other final completion requirements. The first is we are going to require that all of our students take the Cape Harry test, and it has to be the new version. This is the IDA Siri test that was recently revised this last year. And so the new version of the Cape Harry test will be a requirement. That's a test of the International Dyslexia Association's knowledge and practice standards. So that's one requirement. As I said, the dissertation and oral defense of your dissertation is also a requirement. We also, as a final course requirement, program requirement, have a program portfolio that you will do. This will be, instead of an oral exam, we are going to do a portfolio model for that requirement. This portfolio will be built across the program, and it will connect to our key program outcomes. And so it's not something that you would, cram and do right at the end, at the end of your third year, but you would have key portfolio pieces across the program. And then at the end of that third year is when you put it all together, write some reflection pieces, and it would be reviewed by our reading science faculty as a whole to make sure that you've demonstrated the program outcomes that I talked about. The program objectives. Costs for the program. So this is the cost for this coming school year, is $725 per credit hour. All courses are 3 credit hours, and students take, as I said, 9 credits during the summer, 3 courses in the summer, and then 2 courses each semester during the school year, fall and spring. If you are interested in financial aid, I've got our financial aid person's information right here. And Andrew actually knows a lot about the reading science program because he was our admissions person for a while. So he will be happy to talk with you. We also have a financial aid form that Andrew put together that I believe, Kim, did you send that out as well? You did, yeah. So she sent it out. It will also be on our website. That has some, basic information about financial aid and frequently asked questions kinds of things. So I'm going to talk about the admission process. Before I do that, I do want to give Kim Rosen a chance to say hello. So Kim Rosen is the person you will work with to go through the admissions process.
Hi, I'm Kim. I'm really excited to be part of this. I'm actually a double alum of Mount St. Joe. I graduated in 2014 with my teaching degree in special education. And then 9 days after I graduated, I started in the Reading Science Master's program. So I actually went through the master's program. I'm very familiar with the courses. I love talking to you guys about this stuff, and I'm just so happy to be part of this doctoral program. So I'll be the person that you come talk to with any kind of application questions, admissions questions, and honestly, I'll defer to Dr. Murdoch for a lot of those as well, because we're figuring this out together. So if you need me, I think that you know where I am. Thanks.
Great. And it's such a wonderful advantage that Kim is a former teacher and a reading science graduate. She knows our courses that are part of the prereq very well because she took them. And so she will be a great resource as we're understanding the prereqs for some of you as well. So, all right, so some of the pieces around costs that I almost forgot to go over. So there is an application fee that's $50. When you're thinking about the finances of all of this, of course, there will be books for each, set of courses that you do. So we don't have exact amount for books yet, but, think about that. The course fees have not yet been set there's 2 courses that we're imagining there will be a course fee because there would be a supervision piece to that. Those do not come until later in the program. We're figuring that out right now. So there's only 2 courses, but they will have some sort of fee to cover the supervision pieces that we do. So as soon as we have those set, I will share that on our website. We do know that the university has a general graduate student fee, which is $275 for a summer with the amount of courses that you're taking, and then $135 in the fall semester, and then also in the spring semester. So those are kind of the things to think about in terms of costs as you're weighing if you're able to do this. All right, so I just jumped ahead. Kim already introduced herself, but there's her contact information. And again, she's super helpful in terms of, figuring out what pieces you need and the application process. The application requirements, let's talk about those. So the first thing is there is a graduate application. We do need your official transcripts for your undergraduate and your master's degree work. We do have a requirement of a GPA of 3.5 in all coursework related to a master's degree. So that is our cutoff for the master's degree. We do not have a GPA requirement at the undergraduate level. We will look at that, but we do understand that some people have had different experiences undergrads versus when they were a graduate and serious. So our GPA requirement is focused on the master's degree. We also have a requirement that you can write an essay and submit this essay. And the essay prompt is how the science of reading has influenced your model of practice and why you are seeking the doctor in reading science, in around 500 to 700 words. We also are asking for a professional resume, and we're looking for at least 3 years of professional experience. Again, we're imagining these to be leadership people, not brand new teachers. So at least 3 years of experience. Your resume also should include professional references for 3 people. And one of these professional references, we're also going to ask you to identify as the person who we will send a confidential recommendation form. And so think of the people who you're going to have as your reference. You want people who can speak to your knowledge of the field, leadership, your ability to communicate in written and oral form, basically your ability to strongly complete a doctoral program. And then we also have a requirement that you complete the prerequisite form. So I'm going to describe this in just a second, but I want to make it clear that everybody has to complete the prerequisite form. So we will make the determination if you need any prereqs, but everybody does need to complete it. So we have 5 prerequisite courses in our program. And the purpose of these is because, as I said at the beginning, we really see our doctoral program as picking up where our master's degree left off. And so our master's degree is a master's in the science of reading, and we don't want to, we don't want to repeat things that we all expect knowledge of. There'll be some purposeful review at the beginning, but overall we want people who know the simple view of reading and all that good stuff that we've gone over in the master's degree program. You don't have to have done our master's degree. So we acknowledge that we're not the only people who do the science of reading. And we want to not make anybody do something that they've already done. And so we came up with this prerequisite form to help us make the determination if you've met that prerequisite. And your prerequisites don't have to be college level courses. So you may have done, for example, letters training or even a letters trainer. We're not going to make you do courses that we know we cover that same kind of content in a course. So things like training, definitely if you are Orton Gillingham trained from an accredited institution or accredited organization. And when I say accredited, I mean IDA, IMSLIC, the Academy. Again, we're not going to make you do our Orton Gillingham course. So this is really a way to help us make a determination that's fair, to understand if you have the background that's going to help you be successful in the doctoral program, or if you need to do some of our prerequisites. So I've listed on here our prerequisites. We have 5 prerequisites. Again, this is also in the course descriptions that Kim sent you. I will also tell you that we have on the website, and I believe, Kim, did you also send them the prerequisite form? Yeah, the prerequisite form. So for each class, we list the description of the course, and then you can tell us how you are, how you think that you've met this prerequisite. And it's 100% okay to say, I haven't, this is the class I need. If you know you don't have this content, please don't pretend like you do and try to, make it up. I've had people say that, like, should I put something here just in case? No, if you know this is something you need, just leave it blank. And, we'll talk about that when we call you for the interview. So as you can see from this form, if you are an MSGA grad, you went through our reading science program, either the endorsement, the dyslexia certificate, or the master's. If you went through any of those programs, you have the prerequisites. And so you're just going to simply list the grade that you had, that you received, and then the year you completed it. So that's easy for our graduates. If you're a graduate of another IDA accredited program, that's also going to be pretty easy. And so you can write down the course you took that matches our course. And then again, you can attach your transcript, course description, and then a syllabus is really helpful if you have it. And then, as I said, you may have done training or certificates that really covered that key knowledge. You can, again, attach those. We do need, especially for trainings, we do need descriptions of what those trainings are. And then if they're not something we know, letters, pretty much letters, outline of what was covered. And then admit that as part of your application. And then as part of our review of your application, we will decide if this is, a met prerequisite or not met. And that might be some back and forth conversation as well. So that's kind of how that's going to work. We understand that some people want that information before they apply. We have put it in the application process. But if you want that information before you apply, because you're thinking, you know what, I don't know if I'm going to do this program if I have to do all 5 of those prereqs. We completely understand that, and we will review prerequisites prior to application if you prefer, but we do still ask that you complete that prerequisite form and attach all of that information. So if you would like us to do that before you apply, please send that to Kim, and she and I will coordinate a review of that before you apply. If you know you're going to do it anyway, just go ahead and do it as part of the application. So I'm just making sure I said everything. So yeah, we want to have people who are ready to go and are going to be successful in the program, and that's the purpose of those prerequisites. But I also want to say that we really value kind of a diverse perspective of students coming to our program. So please don't feel like you've had to have gotten a master's degree from Mount St. Joseph in order to be considered for this program. That's not at all the case. As I said, we want people who have the foundation of the science of reading, and we like that people come from different institutions in different places. So, please don't let that scare you off if you do have a good background and you just need help, explaining that. All right, I think I already said that. All right, timeline. I know we're getting close to our hour time. So the timeline in the process. So we are officially, as of right this moment, opening our admissions window. So as of today, we are accepting applications. The deadline for the first admissions round, we are imagining it doing 2 rounds, but if the first round we fill, we will not do the second round. So if you know you want to start this May, please do not wait until the second round. We've had a lot of interest in this program. So for this first year, we are imagining that we will not do the second round. But if we haven't filled the program with qualified applicants, we will do a second round. So the deadline for the first admission round is to have your materials in by November 16th. There will be an interview that we will schedule. It'll be a Zoom interview with myself and at least one other reading science faculty member. That will be scheduled the first 2 weeks of December. And we will make a decision before the holidays, or before one of the major holidays at least. So December 21st is we want you to have the decision, because we know that there's some planning that's involved with starting a doctoral program. So you can count on that. As I said, if we did not fill our cohort with qualified applicants in the first round, we will do a second round. All right, so on this slide, I have information about how to contact me as the program director with questions, or Kim as the person in admissions if you have program application kinds of questions. All right, so I think we have just a few minutes for questions and answers. I have some prepared ones, but Kim, is there anything that came out that you think would be really important to address before I go to my questions?
Let me look through yours one more time.
I'll start. You stop me if I'll start
Okay.
by answering, and then you chime in. And any of my panelists, any of my faculty can do that. So the first question I've been asked a few times is how competitive is it to get in? We've had a great deal of interest. Actually, for this webinar, we had 170 people sign up for this webinar to learn about the program. We will accept 15 students in the cohort. Because of doctoral work, we can't have huge cohorts. We really need to keep the cohort size small, because we want to make sure, as I said, 100% of our people graduate. That's what my goal is. So it is competitive. So if you are serious about it, please do get your materials in. Someone asked me, I thought, a really great question, saying if she doesn't get in the first year, can she apply again? Absolutely. And we will let you know if you have that goal. If you don't get in the first year and you want to know why, please do reach out to us and we'll let you know. We don't want to waste your time. If you didn't get in this year because it was so competitive, you're fabulous, but we just could take 15. Or if we will honestly tell you this is you didn't meet the qualifications, or these are some things that you can do in order to look stronger in the next time round. So please do follow up if that's this is really a goal of yours. Kind of connected to that, I had a couple questions around if people recommend starting with a master's degree before doing the doctoral program. It really depends on your background. As I said, we don't want anybody to have to repeat things that they already have strong knowledge and skills in. But if you don't have a background in reading science, you have a master's degree, but it was not in reading science, and you've done some things, but not a ton, then yes, you may want to consider the master's degree as a first step. And again, if you have specific questions around that with your individual profile, Kim would be a great person to talk to. I would, or really any of our faculty. Are any of the courses available a la carte, or will I need to be locked into a cohort sequence? For the doctoral program, you will be locked into a cohort sequence. There will not be the ability to, you know, just take a class here or there, or to stretch it out. Especially initially, we want people who are able to commit to that cohort sequence. We understand things come up in life, so there will be another cohort that starts, you know, the following May. So if something comes up in your life and you get out of sync, you could jump into that next cohort. But yes, you do have to follow that in sync. Where the a la carte could come into play is if you need the prerequisites. Our prerequisites are actually offered every semester, fall, summer, fall, spring, and summer, except for Orton-Gillingham, that's only fall and spring. But there are a lot of different ways to put those prereqs together for you. So that is a chance to do an a la carte kind of thing. We kind of talked about the housing situation that came up during our conversation. And then we will set the dates for the Summer Institute in early fall. So we'll know those dates pretty soon. I will tell you, we're going to do it after we think schools will be done. So we're looking at mid-June for the Summer Institute on-campus meeting part. The online class will begin before that, but when you're together with us on campus, we're thinking mid-June. Kind of another question around background is, do I have to have a master's degree in education, or can it be in a related kind of field? Well, as you heard from our faculty, we are a related field faculty. So yes, school psychology, speech language pathology, literacy. Again, we're looking for, did you have a background in the science of reading, either through your graduate master's degree or through additional work that you did. So it is not restrictive to having a reading master's degree. All right, other questions that have come up. We are at our time, but if there's any pressing question that would be good for me to address, I am happy to stay a few minutes longer to address that. All right. Well, thank you so much to my faculty for showing up and listening to this again. And thank you all for your interest in the Mount St. Joseph Reading Science program. Please do reach out if you have questions about the admissions process. We would love to connect with you, and have a lovely evening. Take care.